rest, take a rest. So you check everything, okay? So we still need a while to wait. Just take a rest. A while. I don't know. We will give you tips 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Relax. Relax. Okay, so how would you say?
能把那棋往中间移。
Can you zoom out? Yes, for the people, I think they're combining their shots with our shot. Is it possible to
我们主要就是一个方面是重点在国家持续的
Just so everyone knows, during the press conference, there will be no microphone or loudspeakers, so it's important that you are quiet so everyone can hear what the principal is saying.
This is the pressure shot.
Because I just say the magic and
那我们加入我把这个
5 minutes before I come, so you can relax.
Relax and save the
One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, get off. 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, 3, wait, okay.
我试一下这个高度啊，这个黄的，还能听到吗？这个高度怎么样？看一下。这个也影响镜头啊。这个高度看怎么样？声音怎么样？看看那个，感觉一下。感觉一下高度啊，测试一下。哎，你好，你好，你好，你好，你好，能听到吗？大家好，能听到吗？大家看一眼，看一眼，看一眼。看一下，你好，你好，大家好，看高度怎么样？行了吧？你好，你好。你好，你好。你好，你好，你好。大家试一下啊，看一下。你好。你好，你好。测试一下。
休息一下，大家休息一下，
休息一下，休息一下，
休息一下，喝点水。Take a seat, relax a bit.
大家看一下啊。
没是你的摄影机。哦，这两个都不是你的。哦，靠这个。这个机位。SVG，Sweden。
我在这儿碰到。
Yeah, yeah. And nice to meet you. I'm the producer correspondent. You're gonna be our translator.
Yes, you will have an interpreter here.
你好，你好。看一下高度啊。
He may just stand there.
看一下高度。
Meet here.
大家看一下。
Yeah, that side. This one is small.
大家看一下这个高度怎么样？声音是不是清楚？ 你怎么搞到这个凳子？这个太好了。大家看一下啊。
大家换位啊。
坐一下，休息休息，站着太累了。好，那就这样。你好，你好。
去点吧。
今天不用老师了，休息一会儿吧。
可以吧？啊，可以吧？休息一下。
Try some cooking. 不会，就这么多人。
哎，
可以搞点吃的。 You have water?
还是去那边变，一个从这儿穿过去。 Yes, I think we're gonna start. Yeah. We need
一样，差不多我俩。行了，可以了。眼镜摘了。对对对。要不反光。我这个位置也能调，可以往前往后。我说旗也能动，总总，旗也可以在摆摆。OK， 我撤了啊。 放肯定5分钟。准备了。
Please turn your cell phones to no audio.
Interpreter will be there. What's your suggestion? That corner, huh? Okay. 对，就是别让他跟他在一个镜头。那不会。
他没有长那么高。对，因为你这样，我觉得大家的麦应该是这样。你太高的话，就挡住脸了，你到时候所有东西没法用。而且麦不要撞在一起，到时候大家都。他应该是站那儿。对。大家麦也不要撞到一起，要不然如果你要用原声的话，就全呲了。
就这样是吧？媒体朋友们，大家下午好，应该说已经快傍晚了。大家在这儿持续关注中美经贸磋商，花了很长时间，大家辛苦了。那么今天呢，我想首先还要继续感谢这个东道主瑞典为热情接待中方经贸代表团，并且为中美在斯德哥尔摩的磋商提供的便利给予的支持，对此表示感谢。那么在过去的
Friends from the press, first of all, thank you very much for staying up pretty late into the afternoon. It's been a pretty long day or 2 days for you, and I thank you for your attention to China-US trade and economic consultation. I'd like to first of all begin by thanking our host, our Swedish government, for warmly receiving the Chinese delegation and also for your convenience and support to the consultation between the Chinese and U.S. delegations.
在过去的1天半时间里面，中美双方经贸团队根据两国元首6月5号通话共识，继续发挥中美经贸磋商机制的作用，就彼此关注的重大议题进行了深入、坦诚、建设性的交流。
Over the last day and a half, the trade and economic teams of China and the United States have followed the important consensus reached by the two heads of state, China and the United States, in their June the 5th phone call, continue to give great play to the role of the China-US trade and economic consultation mechanism, and had in-depth, candid, and constructive exchanges over important topics of mutual interest.
双方充分认识到维护一个稳定、健康的中美经贸关系的重要性。
Both sides are fully aware of the importance of safeguarding a stable and sound China-US trade and economic relationship.
双方就彼此的宏观经济进行了全面、深入的交流。
Both sides had comprehensive and in-depth exchange over each other's macroeconomies.
双方回顾了日内瓦伦敦共识的落实情况，并给予了充分肯定。
Both sides reviewed the implementation of the Geneva and London consensus and fully recognized the implementation.
当然，双方也就彼此的重要经贸关切进行了坦诚的沟通。
Of course, both sides also had candid exchanges over each other's major trade and economic concerns.
根据中美双方的共识，双方将继续推动美方已暂停的对等关税24%部分，以及中方反制措施，继续如期展期。
According to the consensus between China and the U.S., the two sides will continue to push for the continued extension of the pause on the 24% part of the reciprocal tariffs of the U.S. side, as well as the countermeasures on the Chinese side.
中美双方经贸团队将继续保持密切沟通，就经贸议题及时交流。
The two economic and trade teams will continue to maintain close communication and have timely exchanges on trade and economic topics.
继续推动双边经贸关系稳定、健康发展。
We'll continue to push for the stable and sound development of our bilateral trade and economic relationship.
谢谢大家。
Thank you all.
Thank you.
That's the extension of it too. Yeah, go. That's much better. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Is that all right? Yeah, let's lower it down. Yeah,
One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. Focus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, do I have to hit the button? No, it's good.
You're all good?
You all right? Check. Yeah, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. 1, 2, 3. Want to go to the other seat? Very happy to sign with Barcelona. I look forward to a long career there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Focus, everyone good? Yeah, all right. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Yeah, no kidding. It is the place that the U.S. is named ambassadors for, which they haven't used all the other institutions, so at least they're taking some.
Sorry, yes, what's the problem?
We just need to.
No, you cannot have that there. It's
No,
not.
I see. I don't know.
We have one.
Just make it. It's not hers.
What's the problem?
I don't know.
She has a
Little hum.
yeah in here.
Yes.
You know, I have a I have the same problem. If you unplug electricity from your light, and leave the
Oh, is that it?
I don't know. There's some issue.
Unplug the
There's
light.
No problem for
Unplug the light view?
basically, and then now just unplug electricity from
Yeah,
home.
Okay.
We've done that. No, let's plug this in. And if you don't have a grounding.
Can you take the microphone off? Okay, don't take the microphone. Take the microphone off. Yeah, we're going to get something. I'm trying to help something.
If you unplug the electricity.
please stand by. Thanks. Sorry, folks, just give us a few more minutes. Wi-Fi right now either, if it makes you feel better.
Okay, mine's bad.
Could you just tell us how long trade talks went today? In terms of hours?
Let me look at what time I texted you guys that they started and what time I texted you that they ended. Let's see. So talks began at 12:10 today, and they concluded at 5:46. There was a lunch break.
Can't hear you. Can you speak louder?
Talks began today at 12:10 and concluded at 5:46 p.m. And I can confirm that yes, there was a lunch break. I think I had a salad. There might have been feta cheese in it. I hope that's fun color.
Should have been good Swedish salmon.
There was no salmon. It was, I think I've mostly lived on coffee myself.
The Swedes have good coffee, so you can do worse.
It's no better for me up here, if it makes you feel any better. I'm a little jealous of those of you without neckwear on right now, if I'm being totally honest. Afraid that might be beyond the scope of my abilities as a man standing in front of a microphone. See if we can ask somebody. I actually would be curious as well. Perhaps I should ask. I think maybe they're now looking into the air conditioning.
Oh yeah, I could use some of that.
I'm really hopeful because I see vents. I don't feel vents, but I can see vents. Oh. Lovely hosts. Let's go see if I can talk. I suppose I can confirm that the air conditioning is on right now.
It is.
I don't feel it either. Don't manifest things like that. I am told that they are coming shortly, everyone. So, for those of you who've put your cameras into sleep mode, great, and here they come.
Hi. Good afternoon. I'll make a brief statement, then take some questions. We had a very fulsome 2 days with the Chinese delegation led by Vice Premier Ho Feng. It was our third meeting. I'm happy to say that London built on Geneva, Stockholm built on London and Geneva. I think we had great momentum going into the meeting thanks to the president's trade deals. I think that the Chinese were surprised by the magnitude of the Japan deal, by the magnitude and the terms of the European deal. So I think that they're never compliant, but I believe that they were in more of a mood for a wide-ranging discussion. The discussion centered on the two economies. We had a very in-depth report on them on the Chinese economy. We gave a very detailed report on the U.S. economy. We talked about the trade deals that we were doing with other countries. We expressed our concern about Chinese overcapacity globally and what that might mean for this year, for the next few years. We expressed our concern or their purchases of sanctioned Iranian oil, of which they buy about 90%. We also expressed our regret that we believe that they had sold Russia about $15 billion of dual-use technologies. But the overall tone of the meetings was very constructive, and I will pass it over to Ambassador Greer.
Thank you. We also reiterated the premise of the president's trade program and trade policy, which is to reduce U.S. deficits, increase manufacturing, and reshore our economy. We made sure that they understood that these are the goals of what the president's trying to do. And again, we expressed our satisfaction that many of our major trading partners have come along with this. President von der Leyen on Turnberry on Sunday, when I was there, she specifically mentioned that the U.S.-EU deal is about rebalancing and trying to rectify the giant EU surplus with us. And so we've been happy to be working so constructively with many of our partners. And we had that kind of a discussion with the Chinese as well. And of course, we were here in the first purpose to confirm the implementation of what was agreed in London in terms of accelerating the flow of rare earth magnets from China to U.S. companies. And then we were able to discuss further how to make sure that the entire U.S. supply chain, including those that go through third countries, could be accelerated. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say on a personal level, we've developed great respect. Ambassador Greer knows several of their team from the first administration. And again, I think it was the level of momentum and the entire reordering that President Trump has done of the global trading system. So now here you have the two largest economies in negotiation. And as I've said before, and we reiterated to them, we don't want to decouple. We just need to de-risk with certain strategic industries, whether it's the rare earth, semiconductors, medicines, and we talked about what we could do together to get into balance within the relationships. Ambassador Greer has made the fantastic point that for decades the U.S. trading system sacrificed manufacturing for to be able to sell whether it was ag or natural resources. And now under President Trump, as you've seen with the Japan deal, with the Europe deal, we are able to do both. We are able to reshore manufacturing and also do substantial purchase agreements of U.S. ag and energy.
Great. All right, let's turn to the room, please. Let's start up front.
Good afternoon. Jamie Keaton, Associated Press. We had Li Changgang speaking to reporters shortly after the end of the talks today, and he mentioned an extension of the pause. Can you give us some details on that, how long that's going to go on for, and how will it work? And if I could just throw in another one, what do you say to lawmakers in the United States and others who are concerned that concessions on export control on items like chips for AI will jeopardize U.S. national security interests?
Well, I'll take the national security question, and then Jameson could talk about the pause. Look, we are very diligent in terms of the national security. Things go through the interagency at the White House, whether it's Treasury, it's NSC, it's Commerce, it's DOD. So that there's nothing that's being exchanged for anything. I think you might be referring to the NVIDIA H20s, which are well down their technology chip stack.
Great.
And I would say, I should also say the only export controls we talked about today were Chinese export controls on rare earths. Just U.S. export controls were not something we discussed. With respect to a potential pause, we're going to head back to Washington, D.C., and we're going to talk to the president about whether that's something that he wants to do. It's certainly something that's been under discussion, and so we'll brief the president on the outcome of this, and we'll see if there are any. We have further technical discussions that are happening right now as we speak among the teams, and so the president can make a final call on whether that's something that he wants to do.
Not on our side.
Great. Next question, Jenny.
Secretary Besson, you just said again Secretary Besson, you just said again that the biggest problem in the relationship is China's overcapacity and that you want them to move towards a new consumption-based economy. What's your specific plan for addressing those economic imbalances besides purchases of U.S. goods? And then do you want me to go to Jameson now? Sorry, Ambassador. Okay. And then obviously the Section 232 investigations that the president is set to unveil in the coming weeks on pharmaceuticals and semiconductors would theoretically hit China after as well as everyone else in the world. After your talks today, will those tariffs be imposed on the Chinese, or did you make any commitments to pause them or not target the Chinese specifically with those actions? And then what would you say is the biggest concessions that the Chinese have had to make in these talks so far?
Well, I'll just repeat that China is the most imbalanced economy in modern times. And I think we are they're 30% of global manufacturing. They have a 2% current account surplus of global GDP, which we've never seen before, or probably not since the 1870s with the British Empire, and that's not sustainable. So the tariff levels will have quite a bit to do with that. And I think the other thing that we're seeing is that President Trump was very early on talking about the China problem. The U.S. experienced the China shock when China came into the WTO in the early 2000s. But Europe, a lot of the European business model, it was quite a business model, was predicated on cheap Russian energy, a depressed exchange rate because of the southern European countries dragging down the euro, and then selling goods into China. And now that China has jujitsu'd the model, and under the cover of COVID, rather than increasing their consumer, they upped their export capacity, and they did it quite a bit up the value chain. So, we'll see over time. But my guess is that over time, that the other economies, developed economies, will start increasing their tariff barriers, and the global South, they just can't absorb all this Chinese production.
I would say also, when you ask about what tools can be used to deal with this, I mean, this is part of the reason why the president implemented his tariff program. Right now, if you look at the numbers, we're still tracking an annual trade deficit with China. But if you extrapolate it out from the numbers we have so far it looks like it's going to be at least $50 billion smaller this year. So that's some progress already. With respect to the Section 232, this came up during discussions. The Chinese asked us about it. What's the plan? What's the timing? We shared what information we could. You've heard President Trump talk about this publicly, which includes discussion of having a situation where you start with a lower tariff, but then you go to a higher tariff at some point to try to bring back manufacturing of pharmaceuticals or semiconductors. These are global actions. They don't target the Chinese. They don't target any particular country. They'll be applied globally. There aren't any exceptions or exemptions for particular countries.
And what's the biggest concession they've made?
That the Chinese have made? Well, I would say they blocked all of their rare earth magnets, and now we're getting them.
Great. Next question, please, Gavin.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here. I'm just wondering if we can get some clarity on the tariff level that is threatened to happen on April 12th. I know the April 2nd tariffs were 34%. You add that to the fentanyl, 54%. That's where the tariffs are for many goods right now. So what is the overall threat to the Chinese in terms of a tariff level that could happen if there is no extension?
Well, I think you've seen, I've used the word boomerang. So if we boomerang back to the April 2nd level, they would go to 34. I noticed, as the earlier question said, that the Chinese deputy minister did say that we had agreed on a pause. We have not. Nothing is agreed until we speak with President Trump. He's on Air Force One, I believe, doing a press conference right now, and we will be seeing him in the Oval tomorrow to go over the deal with him, and then he'll decide if the pause continues as is.
And just to be clear, Gavin, the president has discretion to change the rate depending on the circumstances that we have, et cetera. So while the snapback rate would be 34%, he, of course, has discretion under the law to modify that.
Yeah, my question is just the 34% is under the tariff level that's current for many goods. So would that be additive to what we have already? Would it be on top? Okay.
Yes.
So we're talking about the threat is that tariffs kind of in like the 80-85% level?
Yeah, depending on the product. Yeah.
Depending on the product.
Yeah,
okay.
but just kind of to tamp down that rhetoric. The meetings were very constructive. We're just that we haven't given the sign off.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you. Next question, please. Yes.
Melissa Eddy from the New York Times. Melissa Eddy from the New York Times. Can you tell us, please, did you discuss a potential summit between the Chinese and U.S. the Chinese president and President Trump? And can you give us any timeline on what you're thinking about in terms of that?
No, the only thing we discussed was there was a recent phone call between the two leaders. On that call, President Xi invited President Trump to Beijing, but we didn't discuss that at all. What we discussed was implementing the desire of the two leaders for the trade team and the Treasury team to have trade negotiations with our Chinese counterparts. So our meetings were just to implement the will of the leaders, not to discuss if there would be a meeting.
Can you just give a time? When was that call? Do you have it on hand?
I think that was the June call, right?
Yeah, it
was June 4th or 5th.
June 4th or 5th.
Thank you.
Great. Right behind.
Hi, Clara from Jägerfeld, Channel 4 Sweden. You've also met with the Swedish government. What topics did you discuss?
We discussed a wide range of topics. First of all, we want to thank the government for the fantastic venue here. Very, very good to be in Stockholm in July. And we discussed the EU deal with the U.S., of which the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister were very supportive. The Finance Minister and I had met previously during World Bank and IMF Week in D.C. We discussed the importance of getting back to basics with the multilateral development banks. We discussed the Swedish economy and how things are going, how important trade is.
Yeah, we also talked about the huge success in U.S.-EU relations over the past few weeks with the recent NATO summit, where all parties agreed to increase defense spending, and Sweden is a big part of that. And so we talked about Sweden's defense establishment. And then, of course, we also talked about the EU deal and how important that was for both sides to reach that. We also talked about U.S.-Sweden trade. We talked about automobiles made in Sweden. We talked about stainless steel. We talked about ag products like onions and carrots. We learned all about Swedish agricultural production, which is really interesting. So it was a very productive discussion, and we're grateful again for our Swedish hosts for helping us here.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, when I have spoken to experts regarding the EU-US deal, some have said that it feels secure that there is a deal, but that you still can be a little bit unsure if it would change. What do you have to say to that?
Oh no! Right now we have I have texts from some of my European counterparts about making sure the details are correct and fully put on paper. So we feel very confident about it, and it's truly a solid path forward for our two countries.
Thank you.
Yep, and I think the other thing that we discussed that's very interesting is the unintended consequence of President Putin's invasion of Ukraine is bringing in Finland and Sweden into NATO. And we discussed the historic reputation of the Swedish military and how good it was to have them in NATO.
Great. All right. Next question. We'll go one more behind. Sir.
It's Hao from Phoenix TV, Hong Kong. I believe you discussed a range of topics with your China counterpart in these 2 days. But compared to Geneva and London, do you think is there any questions or issues are becoming tougher and toughest to negotiate? And as you mentioned that the U.S. is trying to convince China not to keep buying the oil, gas from Russia or Iran, will be the kind of new conditioner for the future round of the talk between U.S. and China. And also, I want to know, since U.S. government has pushed the tariff globally to say push the tariff to a very high peak since 1930, as some newspapers said. But so both of you, do you think it will be concerned by the U.S. people about the potential inflation pressure and also the local economy? Will it? Do you believe will it be more or less slow the economy for the U.S.?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'll work backwards. I was a professor of economic history at Yale, and I can tell you it's my belief that as many people have a misunderstanding that the downturn in the 1930s was caused by an increase in tariffs. It wasn't. The stock market crashed in 1929. There was also a very large tax increase in the U.S. We just did the largest tax cut in history. The U.S. economy is starting to fire on all cylinders right now. We actually, in May, saw the biggest downturn in inflation in 4 years. So the U.S. economy is doing quite well. And I will tell you, rather than the talks getting more difficult, I actually think that they are getting more engaged there was a very, in Geneva, very narrow issue with the magnets. In London, the talks went to a wider aperture. And here, we're able to discuss more and more things. This report that we gave each other on the economies, on the outlook. So I would say it's just the opposite. The purpose of meeting frequently is to have personal relationships, have understandings, and show respect and mutual cooperation. I think Jameson, Ambassador Greer, has been dealing with the Chinese much longer than I have.
Yes, I have. No other comments, though.
Okay. Great. I'll take the next question. Let's come back up front. Dave Lauder, Reuters. Careful with the boom mic.
Hi, thanks. Secretary, question about Russian oil. As you know, the president has threatened possible tariffs on countries that continue to buy Russian oil 100%. China is the largest purchaser of that commodity. What was your message to the Chinese about Russian oil? Did you tell them they're on notice, they need to start to pull back?
Well, we described, it's not just the president, what is making its way through the U.S. Senate, and hard to imagine anything could get 80 or 90 bipartisan votes in the U.S. Senate, is a bill that will give the president discretion to apply secondary tariffs on sanctioned Russian oil from, I believe it's from 0 to 500%. I believe he's used 100%. And we've heard from several of our European counterparts, NATO allies, even Canada, well, Canada is in NATO, that they will be following on that. So we would expect most of the Western alliance that has been supporting Ukraine to follow on that. So I think anyone who buys sanctioned Russian oil should be ready for this.
What was their response to that warning?
The Chinese take their sovereignty very seriously. We don't want to impede on their sovereignty, so they'd like to pay 100% tariff. But
Great. We have time for just about one or two more. Ma'am.
Hi, my name is Clara Matsdotter. I'm from Affärsvärlden. I'm just wondering, you've been described as a global macro veteran and you run a hedge fund. In this moment, where would you put your money if you were still running one?
United States of America.
Only?
Sorry?
Okay. Could you just give us some insight on your current macro view outside of the U.S. as well?
Well, we're seeing the euro's appreciated quite a bit this year, and the currency theory would tell you that when you get a fiscal impulse, you see that, and we've seen a big fiscal impulse coming from Europe, especially from Germany. So, and we're also going to see quite a bit more spending. With China, we are seeing that they are in disinflation. They have a real estate problem. They have a very large current account surplus. As I said, it's about 2% of global GDP. And the Chinese currency is a very difficult currency. It's probably in three different equilibria. You have the currency is cheap. You have 1.4 billion people who want to get their money out of China but aren't allowed to. And then you also have the threat of, will the Chinese give you your money back in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years if you put it in? And then, I think we are seeing the trade deals are having, contrary to the gloom, doom, and boom pessimism that we saw at the beginning of April, that the trade deals have had little effect on the economy, and that the U.S. economy is accelerating. And this year, the U.S. is going to take in probably a minimum of $300 billion of tariff income, which will bring, that's 1% in terms of the GDP. So I think we could substantially bring down our deficit to GDP.
And also, finally, when you come back and speak to Donald Trump about this tariff pause, how prolonged will it be?
I'm sorry.
If it goes the way that China just told us right before you came here?
I think typically we talked about 90 days.
90 days more?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Great. Guys, that's about it. He's going to have to get to his next engagement. So thank you so much for coming, everyone. And if you have any additional questions, please direct them to U.S. Embassy Stockholm, where they can put you in touch with us at the Treasury or a U.S. Trade Representative. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thank you.